Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today's video, why is the Prius the best car ever made? No. Actually, we'd like to know what are my biggest complaints and what did I do to fix them. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, so I've done several videos on the Prius, most of which have been positive, actually all of which have been positive. And personally, I do love driving and owning my Prius. That said, there are not no drawbacks, there are not no negatives. So I'd like to go over some of my biggest complaints and kind of what I did to make my car a little bit more cozy and make it a little bit more mine. So I want to start with probably the most obvious, and that is the head unit. So the Prius audio system and honestly infotainment system, and this is beyond just the Prius, it's all Toyotas, are at best not very user intuitive. They also don't have Android Auto, which means that whenever you would like to interact with your infotainment system, it's not very good. Very clunky at best. So what I installed was a Kenwood head unit here. I'll put it in a link in the description of what I bought here, and I installed it myself. But you can see it filled the gaps here. Some of these are some audio kits or dash kits to fit like a double DIN head unit. So I bought that, and then I allowed down here my cord to plug in, so I've drilled a little hole there right next to the cigarette lighter port. I wanted to put it here, but couldn't get one that was the right size, and just decided nope, down there is fine. So when I plug in my phone, it's going to load up Android Auto. And now I can also play Spotify, and those are the two main things I want to do: navigation, Spotify. Of course, there's other apps in Google's Android Auto, but we don't need to cover those in today's video. This was just something that I really thought was cool. Also, if you did have an electric car, not this one, or an electric Prius, I should say, plug-in Prius, you could have ChargePoint, which would be very helpful. So very cool to have this. And obviously what pairs with this is something like, say, a reverse or backup camera. So my trunk is currently open, so you can see I'm looking at the top of my garage here. But having a backup camera was something this 2010 did not have, and it is something that I certainly wanted to have in my car as well. So that was another thing that I added, not being able to see very well out the back. The trunk's open, but as you can see, there are quite a few pillars in the way. It's very hard to see when you back up, so that was something I added as well. Also, less obvious, but I do have right here, completely invisible really, I upgraded every speaker in this car. So I went with a lot of Kenwood audio equipment. So I have some Kenwood amps, which we'll show here in a second. But I also replaced every speaker in the car, and unless you were someone who could spot this, like there you can see there's a little bit of a bump because I used a speaker that had the tweeter on a little bit of a post. So I replaced every speaker in the car. Also added a sub. So I'll go ahead and jump to the back of the car and we'll see that. So we are now in the back. This is the sub, as you can see. So this was actually a custom fiberglass sub box, and what's cool about this one is you can actually buy it on eBay. I think we also have links to Amazon, so I'll be posting some of those in there. This guy makes custom boxes, makes the felt match, which is really cool. And then in here is where I keep my amps. So I think I had these unlocked, so we'll open this right on up. Open that up here, and you can see we have I have a Rockford Fosgate amp powering the sub, and then a Kenwood amp powering that. And you can see cable management could always be improved, but it all runs to the 12-volt system. So a nice place to put that. And when everything's folded down, you can't even tell it is there. So that was the goal with that. The camera that I installed is right up here, so you can see there is the backup camera. That is actually the stock location for that, so not too crazy there. One of my other modifications, as we've already seen in previous videos, is remote start. And then I also got WeatherTech mats on Craigslist. Now, my two biggest complaints I've saved for last, because the audio honestly wasn't as bad as other cars I've been in. However, these seats are terrible. They are some of the worst seats I've ever sat in for a car. Anytime I'm in someone else's car or a friend's car, I notice how good they are. And that is the one thing I've not been able to fix yet. So it's on my list because they're so bad. I personally just don't fit very well in the seats. I'm pretty small. I'm only 5'6", but still the lower back support is leaving much to be desired. But that's also not my biggest complaint. My biggest complaint is the sun visor. It does not fit the window. It leaves a massive gap. And so much so that when you're driving, even with sunglasses on, the sun will hit the side of your face, and it's very annoying, leading you to kind of lean forward in your seat, which again is not very comfortable and honestly probably not a good way to drive. So my solution was extraordinarily simple, but there is a thing or a product called tuck visor. They sell these on Amazon relatively cheap. I remember it being $10, $15. I'll put a link to that, but this has been incredible. And the way that it works, so it's really just super simple. Comes down, laminated sheet of cardboard. If you have a laminator, make it yourself. But if you don't, it fits right up there and just sticks right up there. If I roll down the window, it will fall down, which is one of the only downsides. But it's so easy to take down and put back up that I have just loved having this thing. And when I'm not using it, say I need to take it down, I can usually put it in the side of the seat right here. So I can basically take this, throw it right in here, and it will basically disappear. So I can keep it right there if I don't need it, and I still have my whole window here. So that's probably my biggest complaint, and that one was able to be rectified. And then some other minor things, heated seats were added in this car. So I have heated seats on both sides. Also did that to my other 2010. So we have heated seats in there. I also added leather because these seats, their cloth, the stock cloth just absolutely absorbs any mess that spills. And that's pretty much all of my mods. One that I did not do, but that came with the car, those that know Toyota know that the 2010s, I don't think came with sunroofs, unless they were obviously a Package 5 or Persona series, which I think is only 2012 to 2014, or 15. So this has a custom sunroof. I don't use this very often, for the obvious reason of this is a third-party sunroof, so if it leaks, that's not fun. So the sealing material is also not, I think, stock. It's not that hard shell material, but it is really nice to look out. Also, I wouldn't ever really recommend getting a third-party sunroof. If you want a sunroof, just buy a car that has a sunroof. But everyone who has one will tell you they don't typically use them because it lets the sun in and it gets really hot. In the winter, I suppose it could be nice to leave open. Or if you want to vent your car, leaving it open like that, you could let some of the steamy air out, well, if some windows cracked or something. But anyway, that's pretty much all that I have done to my car. Obviously, I have the phone mount right here for the Hybrid Assistant app, which is super nice. This is a Magna mount, as they're called. So I'll put a link to these. These are super awesome, and it fits perfectly with the Prius vent. And then I did close the Prius vent because I don't want cold air blasting in the back of my phone. I suppose you could. It wouldn't hurt anything. But you can still access the vent. You just can't tilt it up or down when it's connected there, as you can see. But it is the best mount I've encountered for the Prius. So anyway, that is all of my mods. If you have any other questions on any of my mods or would like post anything that I've used, maybe my audio equipment, I'm happy to do that as well. And as always, if you have any video ideas or you'd like to see something in the future, please not only subscribe, but then comment, and we'll see if we can make it happen. All right, you guys have a good one, and we'll catch you in the next one.